Back again for another video. So I actually made a video on March 5th that I haven't published yet. It's called "Is She Worthy of Protection?" It's kind of funny that on the eve, or not the eve, but on the day after of the circumstances with Will Smith, Jada, and Chris Rock, that I'm here making this video, and I'm looking at my catalog list, and one of the videos there is "If She's Worthy of Protection," which I'll produce. It's coming, don't worry. Me. So, been going through school, trying to get this dual degree, in process, and take care of what I need to as far as that goes. So there's been a lot of stuff moving around, and I haven't been able to make videos like I need to. So I'm not without guilt here, in regards to what I said my duty was here on YouTube. But anyways, on to the topic. So I don't know what to call this one exactly, but I'm just going to speak on, like I said, the Will Smith, Jada, and Chris Rock thing. The first thing that I want to mention is never put your purpose on the line for a bust down. Simple as that. For a bust down. No matter what he calls her, Will Smith calls Jada, as far as his wife, whatever. Mature relationship is what they put in the tabloids in regards to what she said. The kind of relationship that they have is. Don't put your purpose on the line for a bust down. I mean, he's in the state of California, and California can actually prosecute without the go ahead from the victim. It's part of their state laws, due to all the stuff that was going on from, the gang life issues that they have out there. They enacted that law. I think, don't quote me, but I think it was back in the 70s, 80s, somewhere up in there. But anyways, this is pretty standard for a lot of states that have similar issues. So it could be coming down the pipeline that California State might prosecute Will for the assault on Chris Rock. I mean, because it's an open and shut case. They got all the evidence right there. No matter what Chris Rock said, short of threatening someone's bodily with bodily harm, that's not an equal level of force to physically assault someone. And this incident, I'm noticing online, I've been reading a lot of stuff about it in people's comments and, different places, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. A lot of women are backing this. A lot of women are backing Will Smith's behavior, but we know why. we live in the age of the gynocracy. So, gynocratic rules are the standard here across America. Anyways, I don't know what it is like in other places of the world, but like I said, here in America, gynocratic laws are and rules are what scope the landscape. So this essentially is setting the precedence to women. Women tend to believe that they believe in hierarchy, especially when it comes to themselves. They don't much understand it when it comes to men, because our hierarchy is very different. It can interchange very quickly. There is a such thing as an underdog in the hierarchy of men. Potentially, throughout the history of mankind, there's always underdogs, but not necessarily with women. If you notice, their hierarchy, social hierarchy, is very set, and it's pretty much voted upon with how they move and what they choose to engage in. Whereas with men, that's not how it works. We go on with the best solution, regardless of how many people agree with it or don't agree with it. We move with rational rather than emotional. And once again, the women, this is setting a precedence to them, because they don't necessarily widely have the ability to assess, once again, the hierarchical stance of how men operate. They are looking at this and thinking that since Will Smith will be considered a high value male, that now he's setting the precedence for every male that is beneath his stature, his status. But that's not how it works with men, right? So they're cheering this on. That's the reason why a lot of women, are backing this, because they think that, for instance, somebody like Megan Thee Stallion or Mulatto or Cardi B, they set the standards for women, of those ilks, right? They set the standards for those women. Those women fall in line with what they say and how they move and what they do. They fall in line with this. Nicki Minaj, same thing. They fall in line with that. They listen to those women. So they think that because Will Smith did this act where he assaulted someone over the honor, quote unquote, of his quote unquote wife, that this is now going to set a hierarchical standard that men are going to assimilate to. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, women. I'm sorry. I don't know what you think, what you understand about men, but if one thing you should understand about men is that while you are linear in the way that you move socially, we are not. We are multi-directional in the way that we move socially, because we have to be, because we cannot put a lot of stock into one thing and just run with it, because then that will be counterproductive to our purpose. And our purpose could include changing our social standards and social views about how we see this world and how we interact with people. For instance, there are plenty of pimps, thugs, ex-drug dealers, what have you, who did that stuff for like 20, 30 years. And now they're executives. Now they do legit businesses. Now they handle women, drugs, or whatever the case may be very differently than they have before. Whereas women, y'all are stuck for whatever reason. I don't understand why. Y'all handle the same things the same way you always have, but you expect different results. Because of that hierarchical influence socially, if no one else moves above you, then you don't move. If the social society of women doesn't accept certain things, then even if you like it, you're not going to be so vocal about it. You're not going to be so open about it. You're not going to actually pursue it with sincerity because you're afraid of the social backlash from your fellow women. And that's unfortunate. Men don't move like that. We don't care what other men say or don't say. This is the reason why Will did what he did. And this is the reason why Chris did what he did. Because we don't care about how people view us socially. I mean, sure, when things are leveraged against money, then yes, image is very important. But for the most part, people like Chris, people like Will, they don't come from a history where image precedes honor and ego. Doesn't happen. They from the hood, right? You have to have your ego intact. You have to have your honor intact in the hood. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're going to be ostracized outside of the collective manhood of whatever that region is. Everybody has their own set standards for what the hood is and what a man is and et cetera, and how you should move as a man in the hood. But nonetheless, those rules do exist no matter where you go. That's how they know the difference when someone comes out who's a man from a different place and moves into their area, because they move different. They have a certain different standards of how they conduct themselves in such hood, right? But anyways, when it comes to this situation, he's putting his reputation on the line. I mean, because there are a lot of things that I can definitely point out here. I mean, the internet is going to rip him apart. The only thing that's going to save him is the ex-Derek Jank fans. That's the only people that's going to save him. The sisterhood failure course, they're definitely going to come back, and save him, but that's not enough. That's not enough feet on the ground to make this movement happen in saving him from public ostracization. Yes, he has money. Yes, he has, still a social status. But I don't know if he can recover from what he did by this. Who's going to really watch his movies with sincerity anymore, because he showed a different side of himself that no one actually believed was there. Is that, we understood that, he was in this relationship with a woman who had been doing these things to him, but he never really acted for or against those things, right? So we couldn't gauge what type of masculinity he had. We knew it was kind of simpish because he's dealing with this type of woman, but as far as if he was going up or going down, we couldn't say. Going down into, the further recesses of simpetry, or rising to become an actual man and eventually separate himself from this woman because he deserves better. And he realized his purpose is much more greater in being tarnished by her constant and consistent counterproductive actions, right, to his social standings and how serious people take him. But I hear online, people talking about, well, and it's true, they have an open relationship. But the thing about that is, we know how many dudes, we can find out how many dudes Jada's been with, because they publicly hinted to that, or they just publicly admitted to it. But, Will Smith being one of a kind, because let's be honest, Will Smith, there is nobody else, there's not another Will Smith out there, right? And we know how women are. Like I said, we seen this happen to Derek Jenks, right? Soon as a woman, she was eventually gonna come out with it, And that's another video that I'm gonna do too. The video about how women don't actually care about the man that they're help cheating, on their spouse. They care about getting at that woman because that woman has a lifestyle that she does not. And the only access that she can have to that lifestyle is through that man. But once she has destroyed that woman's lifestyle or tarnished that woman's lifestyle through that man in his actions, she's satisfied and now she moves on. Like I said, that's kind of what happened with Derek Jenks. And we see this is a pattern, look out for it. Believe me, it's a pattern. These women don't necessarily care about you. They can get sex anywhere that they want. So why would they choose to be with a married guy? That's a long unanswered question about this, and I just answered it. But anyways, when it comes to their relationship, Jada and Smith, Will Smith, they have an open relationship. They both publicly came out and admitted to it. But again, we can count how many men Jada's been with, but for some reason, there's not been one woman who came forward to say that she dealt with Will Smith in a capacity that would justify him being in an open relationship. Not one that I know of. Please let me know. Anybody who came out and it was credible to say, and he validated them to say, yes, this woman I was dealing with. Because let's be honest, Jada, she didn't feel any shame about anything that she was doing. So they have that type of relationship that he could be open and honest about a woman that he was dealing with. Why is it that he's not doing that? If that's the case, that he was dealing with another woman because they have an open relationship. Why? What my theory about that is? My theory is that he wanted this woman so much. He felt very successful, uber successful at the time when he met her. But he wanted this woman so much that he was willing to sacrifice his own manhood and emasculate himself by allowing her to be in an open relationship. Because this wasn't his idea. He never came out before she did saying that we have an open relationship. This was her who was saying that. She was speaking this, and then to save face, he said, oh, yeah, we have an open relationship. And subsequently, they were talking about divorce, right? It was never his idea. It was never his idea to begin with. When they first got together, as far as my knowledge goes, she told him that she wanted to have a non-traditional relationship. But that can mean many things, right? And I'm pretty sure they had discussions about it, that they created certain bylaws in their relationship that they would do certain things, that we have access to certain things. It's just that she didn't take a hold of them right away because she was dealing with Will Smith, right? And then later, as we all know, hypergamy starts to kick in, but her hypergamy is very different because she was already with the man who had access to wealth. And see my other video about that, the dual structure of hypergamy and how it works for different types of women. It's usually the masculine and the resource. That's the dichotomy that women are faced with their hypergamy. We see this in the hood. Women, we know women who have uber success come down to the hood and get a thug, right? Who has nothing to offer her but what? Masculinity. That explains all that, right? And I think Jada strikes me as a bit borderline, because she has to have a certain level of controversy in her life to feel like she's existing. That's the reason why I personally believe that she wanted the option to have an open relationship, because she knew that Will Smith was a square. Let's be honest, people. Will Smith is not a thug. He's not. He doesn't have a drug dealer history. He doesn't come from. He doesn't fit that standard, right? He's not a Pac, right? We know that. He's a square when compared to some of the men that she's chose to deal with, right? But the funny thing is, another funny thing is, Future tweeted about that situation. He said, "Yeah, that's how that should be handled." Future, okay, all right. If y'all know the history, you know the history. But anyway, it's just a lot of stuff that's going on, man, with this whole situation. And this is a huge topic in the Black community because, once again, it sets precedents for a lot of women, the majority, the strag culture, right? It sets a huge precedence to them because they think that this is the standard of how a man should protect his so-called wife. So-called bust down, because let's face it, most of these chicks are bust downs. That's the truth. Most of these chicks are bust downs. And they think that now that such a man would protect such a bust down, that this is now going to set a standard for how men should operate when dealing with them. Sorry, ladies, this is not how it works. Not with men. Not with men. Y'all live so much in the fantasy world. Y'all are willing to push up a simp quick as hell. As long as it sets the standard and supports the narrative of the subjugation of actual men in your lives and soon to be in your lives. That's not how it's going to work, man. Not going to work. Yes, Will Smith is a simp. And this is why I call him a simp. Because plainly, let's just plainly define what a simp is. I've said this plenty of times, many different ways, forward, south, north, east, left and right? Plainly, a simp is someone who gives of his energy and allows a woman to either give him less consistently or give him none consistently without ever expecting her to reciprocate or match his energy in a complimentary fashion. That's simply a simp. You can be married and be a simp to your wife. Let's be clear about that. You can be married legally, whether you arrange, whatever the case may be, spiritually, you could be married and you could be a simp to your wife. If she's not reciprocating the energy that you give to her back to you in the way that you see fit and you feel validated and you feel fulfilled, or you feel the exchange is proper, and you allow that to continue without saying anything or attempting to correct that type of behavior or getting rid of her because she is not meeting the standard, you, my good sir, are a simp. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. But until next time, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day. And of course, you know it. Peace be with you.